All right, so I'm here to speak on a topic about the Earth being round versus it being flat, or a sphere versus it being flat with, of course, hills and mountains and all that stuff like that, of course, but not just flat, like just flat. We know it's hills, mountains, rivers, and all that cool stuff. We're just talking about the concept of it not spinning like a ball in black space or whatever color space is, with stars distance away or close away in the sun, and 1,000 miles per hour spinning, going around the sun. All the stuff that NASA says in its report is just really questionable. Of course, it's cool to view it that way, seeing that, before NASA or anybody ever went to space, they started filming TV series called Star Trek, that got everybody even thinking of the concept that is possible. Then, of course, it's easy to, in my opinion, fake a moon landing, fake space, because you've already kind of persuaded everybody through the what they call it, the stupid box, the TV, and there's also educational stuff on TV. But we're just talking about the concept of back in the day of how the TV was used to advertise and sell people on stuff. So, you got Star Trek going out of space, then you got a space landing coming, and then people start to believe in the world is round versus what many people believe a long time ago, that it was flat, and the sun floats above us, and the moon floats above us as well, and they do their own thing. Well, the moon does its own thing, and the sun kind of keep a consistent pattern that does switch up sometimes. So I guess I just want to speak on it, and comments are welcome. Please try not to call names and stuff like that. I'm not here for all that extra stuff. Just trying to throw a perspective out there. So looking at this picture here that I just drew a big old circle, it's a little cricket, it's cool. We'll just say all this right here is ice. It's Antarctica. Anything outside the circle would be called Antarctica. Everything else in the middle would be called Earth. Since Earth is so large, let's imagine this is very huge, and let's just say the continents are very small. I'm not finna sit here and draw continents and stuff like that. Ain't got time for that. But what I will do is just use a couple little circles. So we'll just say that, most popular, this little area right here is the United States. We can even make it even smaller if you like, because we know that most of the land is covered by water. So you don't want to draw those too big because you can't really see the concept. So we'll just say these are very small. This is very small, the United States, and then of course, you got your Mexico area, you got your other continents and other stuff like that. So, all that cool stuff like that. My questions is that if the Earth is round, why is it that when we leave, supposedly, the Earth and draw closer to the sun, wouldn't it get hotter? And then if you're on the other side, wouldn't it get colder? Seeing that we experience hot and cold on a daily basis, hot and cold, rainy, wet, whatever you want to call it. But hot and cold is the key thing. So if the sun is supposed to be so many miles away, and when we on this little bitty continent, which is so covered by all this water, and the sun is so far away, why is it that when we go outside and because I'm in Texas and it's 100 degrees outside, it's freaking hot. We want to go inside, don't want to play outside. I think some of the hottest recording temperatures about 134 maybe in Nevada or Arizona area. Not sure, but I know it gets pretty hot. You can Google up the hottest place on Earth. I think it's like 134, 136 degrees, whatnot. So if it's already that hot for our human flesh. All right, so I got a phone call, so I got sidetracked. But back to what I was saying, I believe I was talking about how hot it is. So pretty much versus hot and cold. If it's already too doggone hot to be outside when the temperature is 109, 110, 98 degrees or whatever, it's just too hot, how is it even possible for us to travel towards or outside of the atmosphere of a round place that's spinning at 100,000 miles per hour that's supposed to be huge, and to be able to even withstand those temperatures? Think about it from an ant perspective. If you're shining a hot light on top of an ant, he's trying to get up out of there. Same as you're shining a hot light on us as we walk around the planet we're trying to get up out of there. So who would really want to jump in anything and travel closer to the sun or even orbit around Earth? Because if Earth is supposed to be this big ball, if you're orbiting around Earth, you're taking yourself how many miles or wherever across from Earth, you're still orbiting in a circle of motion. So you're orbiting in a bigger motion than the Earth, and the sun is still beaming at the Earth based off of the round Earth theory. Think about that. It's freaking hot. You would burn the crisp. But I guess, you know, somebody's going to give me an explanation in the comments explaining how the sun, the heat of the sun is different when you're outside of the atmosphere or when you're farther away from the Earth, but you're still getting closer to the sun. But yet when you're on Earth, it's freaking hot at 110, 115. So, you know, you can just, I'm just ready to hear the comments. I don't even believe I'm doing this, but I'm ready to hear the comments. So back to what I was saying, the reason why a lot of people believe the Earth is flat, because look at the way the how would I say? Look at the way the sun moves. You know, if this area is so broad, so big, and there's so much water, and the continents are actually big to us, but actually really small, then that means that there is a lot of space for the sun to travel in that circle of motion. And you can look on YouTube and see how they explain when the closer it is to the, let's say that's the North Pole. Well, North Pole. It's on it's supposed to be leaning on an axle, but on flat Earth theory, you know, wherever the North Pole is at, right in the middle, in the center, the Earth is supposed to be. The sun is supposed to be spinning around or going around. Maybe it goes up and down a little bit to get the different temperatures, because sometimes it just feel like the sun is just too close because it's just too hot in some areas. So maybe it might be doing the tip of my pen is the sun. So it may be going up and down and around. And then of course we all know the moon can just kind of go wherever it likes. And there's some videos that believe the moon is giving off its own cool air or cool temperatures, which I kind of do believe. And maybe sometimes when it's just close to the sun, it just kind of gives that little shadow or fade of the sun that looks real different. And then we only see one side of the moon. So could it be that we only see one side of the sun as well too? But I guess since the sun is flaring so hard, you know, sunspots and all that crazy stuff that they look through microscopes. I don't know, I'm going to get into all the detail of that, but I can understand and I can see why people would believe that the sun is a little ball that is floating over us, giving us different seasons and tropical weather. Because if you try to make the equator, if this is the States, then make the equator more here, and maybe the sun is not traveling way out here because of this ice. And you're talking about, you know, global, whatever it's called, the ice melting. Maybe if the sun stopped traveling close to the States, the continents, and started going out further, maybe it might start melting this ice, and then the ice may melt, and then you would see us no longer be able to be the continents above the water. The sea level will rise and flood everything. You know, maybe if the sun goes away, everything melts or everything freezes. Who knows? But it just doesn't add up to understand why we would be spinning, why are we on an axle, why are we going at 100,000 miles per hour? It's just all too much. And gravity is supposed to be pulling us down. Well, you know, if you kind of keep it on a simple basis, if it's falling because it's just the weight. You know, oh, well, they did something, some room where they take the gravity out and everything falls at the same speed. Yeah, that makes sense. If you can be able to make everything weightless, then of course nothing has the same weight, so of course it's going to fall at the same speed. But we're not even trying to do that. That doesn't add up to the whole understanding of us sitting on a disc or a flat surface, closed in by ice walls, sun and moon sitting over the top of us, sun spinning around, going up and down, in and out, bringing us different temperature, climates, all that's the same stuff. I'm not a pH, whatever degrees and all that, just kind of venting my opinion in regards to this whole flat earth and round earth stuff. And another thing, like, real talk, like, why did they waste their time to spend all these billions of dollars to send a car out of space? Like, come on now, if you're going to send anything out of space to show us Earth, and then why is it on live NASA feed that you only see a tip of the Earth? Of course, if you see tip, then it looks like it's round to a certain extent, even if that video is even real. How come they can't give us a full video feed of the Earth that in and out, that shows us the continents, that shows us when a storm is going on? Never. We're still seeing fake images, CGI on the news. if our technology is so advanced in 2018, why is it that we can't send up a device that has billions of cameras? Billions of cameras. You spend billions of dollars. Why to send a car up there? Send a ball up there that has tons of cameras in every direction so that they can send the video feed back to us so that we can see the sun, the moon, the stars, everything. And you can change the camera settings. Maybe you have some camera set where you can see the stars and you can't see the earth because it's going to prove to us without a doubt, instead of sending a car into space that has 3 or 4 camera shots, where all the videos do look a bit cheesy. All look a bit cheesy. You really can't see cloud change patterns too much. You know, it's all questionable. So when you keep creating stuff that's just so questionable, of course you're going to have conspiracy theories where people are trying to figure it out and understand it, seeing that we're just like little bitty ants sitting in the dirt, surrounded by a bunch of water, and you're still trying to convince us that the sun is so far away. So the key things is, if you want to make some questions below, the sun seems just to be too close to be so far away with the heat that it gives us. Why is it you can't show us some video feeds of different apertures where the stars are shining in the background and the sun is just, and the earth is just too bright? You know, show us some real vivid images instead of everything that looks CGI. Why is it that whenever you Google search the earth, you get tons and tons of CGI, versus when you Google anything else, some tennis shoes, a car, French fries, whatever you want, a hot dog or a sandwich or a telephone or a pencil or a pen, you get real deal stuff. You don't get a bunch of CGI stuff. But on the other side, it's just a bunch of bullcrap, in my opinion. It's a bunch of questionable stuff. Of course, you can question my theory or my understanding, but the key thing is, like, my thing is the sun. It's like the sun kind of just tells it all. It's just a freaking big old hot ball. Like today is raining in Houston. It's pouring raining in Houston. It's cloudy outside. So where's the sun now? I guess the sun is behind the clouds. And the flat earth theory, maybe it's a little bit farther or further away. But in a round earth theory, the sun is actually the same distance as it was and as it usually be when it rotates and spins around. It should affect us in regards to give us some sun. You know? Like, I can see why you would get cloudy in some area on a flat earth theory and rainy in some area and cold in some area. But on a round earth theory, if the sun is beaming on one side of the ball, then shouldn't that side of the ball just be kind of warm? And I understand the bulge out and the bulge in, but it still doesn't add up as far as in the temperatures in different areas as the sun is moving. It just doesn't add up. It's just too far away. So the concept of the sun being close just makes a lot more sense. I know I'm kind of rattling here. This is my first time doing something. Y'all just staring at a piece of paper. But, you know, once again, you got your continents that have the hills and the mountains. You got your ice that's around us. You've got a sun that rotates around us, and the moon that does the same thing, does what it wants. That's why we see the sun and the moon in the same spot sometimes. And like I say, once again, my biggest thing is that if I'm here and the sun is here, the heat that the sun sends me, I understand why I can't be outside when it's over 140, 150 degrees. It's too freaking hot, and how I'm sweating and want to go inside when it's 102. Versus the sun that's supposed to be way far away, and we're on a big old circular motion and circular globe, and we're spinning around, and the sun's supposed to be sending us heat. And when temperatures get too high, we don't want to be out. If the sun is sending us 100 and something degrees, it should affect the globe in a big perspective, in the overall one side that's capturing the sun. And like I said, if we shoot anything away from this planet, the temperature should rise if you're going to in any direction, any angle towards the sun. Or if you're launching if you're launching a rocket in the daytime, I think the sun should tear that joker up as you draw closer to it. So that's my key thing. The sun, the stars, give us a freaking video shot where you have tons and tons and tons and tons of cameras up there. Like, yo, it's a billion people out here, a billion people on this planet. We got all different types of camera phones and technology, but we can't get a clear, crystal clear picture of the earth other than some lame feed of some space dude in a car showing the picture of the Earth, and he actually got the whole Earth. The whole Earth was in the background. So if the Earth is supposed to be that huge and you got the whole Earth in the background, where is the sun? And then when they do this, and then when they do show the sun looks like looks the same as if you're standing on Earth, which is unbelievable. Because if you move in close to the sun, shouldn't it draw bigger? Shouldn't it become bigger? So that's the thing. Like I said, I'm not an artist over here, but just giving you the concept of, once again, ice, water, and then you got your continents that will bulge through the water, which would give us hills and mountains and lakes and rivers and stuff like that. But as the sun moves in on the continents, because remember, the continents are just pretty much right in this little area. You know, you can draw them how you want to draw them. But as the sun just goes around the continents, it would be ugly as the sun moves up and down, in and out, giving us our different temperatures, giving the North Pole more sunny days versus nights. And when it draws out, you get longer nights and different stuff like that. And then you got your eclipse where the sun and the moon cross path, which would be totally understandable. So I just asked, like, try to get out of what you've been taught in grade school, what you've been taught through NASA. Now NASA seems to be giving up on their space thing and sending money over to SpaceX. Like, get past all the trickery and just try to draw up your own concept of when you stand outside and look up at the sky, or when you're laying outside on the ground looking up at the sun. Build your own concept of what you think this place would be that we're living on. Because it's really hard for me personally, when I walk outside and look at the sun, to believe that I'm on a spinning ball in outer space, flying through outer space, and the stars don't even move. That's weird. It's just too much going on. This place is just too simple. The only thing that's really complex is our human bodies and the animals and the insects that are here. But everything else on this planet is very simple, just very simple. So that's my idea. Maybe I'll get a better video feed later instead of you staring at a piece of paper. But that's what it is. Have a good one. Peace.